So let's get a word with Simon Danczuk, former Labour MP, on this one. Simon, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. It's good to be with you.
Always good to have you with us. Have you signed the petition yourself?
I have indeed, and I'm promoting the petition. And there's a good reason for that. I think this shows that Keir Starmer is in a really difficult position. Everybody knows how petitions work and how we elect governments and all the rest of it. But what it is showing is that there's real discontent in terms of the fact that Keir Starmer lied in the run-up to the general election, won votes, got elected on the basis of a series of lies. And then once he's got in power, he's done the absolute opposite. And people are extremely unhappy about that. And it's worth noting that it'll reach 3 million by the end of today. There's no doubt about that. And that's within 2 days. This petition actually runs, because it's an official petition, it runs for 6 months.
Yeah.
And you were quoting the EU petition of 6 million. I suspect it took 6 months to get to 6 million.
Quite possibly.
This petition... Yeah, this petition is getting there much more quickly. It even has the endorsement of Michael Caine. I'm happy to be on the side of Michael Caine, who's promoting this petition as well. People are very angry out there and they want to show discontentment, and this is one way in which they can do that.
Well, let's have a listen to the man that started the petition. Here he is speaking to Julia a little earlier.
The problem is they're in a position of power now, and it's through lies. You should be truthful with the British public about what they were going to do when they was in power. Julia, if you or I applied for a job and after 3 months we couldn't do the job that we said because...
There it is. I mean, that was his thinking. He probably didn't even imagine it would do what it's done. My only take, Simon, on this is I don't know what it achieves.
Yeah, well, you know... You could count on one hand the number of petitions I've signed in the last 35 years. I rarely ever sign petitions, but I've signed this one because I think we need to show the wider community, the wider population in Britain, that we are not happy with this government and the way that they've behaved to gain power and the way that they're behaving now that they are in power. So I think it's having a big impact. And as you pointed out, I think 10 Downing Street will start questioning the numbers as they steadily increase. I don't doubt that for 1 minute.
But is the problem, Simon, that we might be the orchestrators of improving the government? And that might be a kind of, oh, hang on a second, they've got good all of a sudden. We don't want that to happen because they might stay in power for another 5 years after this.
Well, on the basis of the first 100 days, I can't see that as a plausible argument. But what it does do, it says to a lot of Labour backbenchers that we're not happy with your performance.
Yeah.
So a lot of Labour MPs, especially in marginal seats, of which there are many, will be thinking, and you can get the results by constituency as well. They'll be thinking, hang on, that's my majority gone, which might result in Keir Starmer going at some stage.
It'll be interesting to see. He's not even been there 20 weeks so far, Simon, so it's been a rough old time. I mean, there is a school of thought, of course, that says that Labour have got all the bad stuff out the way in the first couple of months, and then they'll just concentrate on doing stuff, and come the next election, everybody will have forgotten. I'm not sure people will forget some of this.
No, I agree with you. I don't think they will forget. This feels very different. I pointed out that I've been around politics 35 years, and this feels really different. It feels like one of the most unpopular governments in my lifetime, no doubt about that. And all the issues, two-tier Keir, two-tier justice, all the freebies, will stick. It's already sticking. People are exceptionally unhappy with primarily with the Prime Minister, to an extent with Rachel Reeves. They've got real issues with this government. I think they'll struggle to make a full 5 years.
Yeah, that's interesting. Let's move on to this story. Former Met Chief Lord Hogan Howe has called for a review of non-crime hate incidents. We talk about this a lot. I think last time when you were on last week, Simon, this came up. It follows that ongoing row over police wasting tens of thousands of hours on these kind of incidents every year. It's worth having another listen to Alison Pearson, of course. She was one of the journalists that got a knock on the door. Here she is speaking to Talk earlier this month about her own experience.
Well, do you remember after the Southport riots, I think the actual Home Office tweeted think before you post. It's a real big brother thing, isn't it, really? And if someone like me, like you, I try to speak out for normal people, what normal people's reaction was, I think we can agree most people watching you will not be thinking this is a brilliant use of police time. They'd quite like someone to come around and investigate their burglary.
And we find out today, Simon, that it's estimated that police spend 60,000 police hours annually diverting officers from what you might call fighting real crime to nonsense like this.
It's complete nonsense. The police should concentrate on crime. Anything that's a non-crime, they should just avoid dealing with. I mean, that's the reality of it. Yet we've got Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary, proposing to expand or ask the police to provide more detail around these issues. The sentiment, the idea of them was to be able to try and extrapolate when something might be going wrong or something might be happening, and very much on the back of the Stephen Lawrence murder. But there's no proof, quite contrary, there's no proof to show that this helps identify an escalation in a particular situation. There's no evidence for that. The Policy Exchange think tank just produced a report that says there's no evidence that these help the police identify an escalation in relation to racism or any other issue.
There it is. Simon, stay with us. Simon Danczuk, former Labour MP, with us on the programme.